Hey guys, it's Caleb. Today up on the lift, we've got a really exciting fitment. We've got a Jeep Wrangler. This is the JK body style, and we've got a new mud flap kit for it. So let's go ahead and show you how to install it. Here we have the tools laid out that you'll need for install. You'll need a mallet to help you press in the flange nuts on the flaps. You'll need an 1/8 inch Allen key to help tighten the screws on the flaps. We're going to use some medium strength thread locker today. Then you'll need a 5/8 or 16 millimeter socket, an extension, and a ratchet. Here we have the front laid out. What you'll get in your kit is your front flap. You'll get your A plate, your B plate, and your C plate. Then you'll also get your mounting bracket and the hardware. We'll go ahead and put a breakdown of that hardware on the screen right now. Now let's go ahead and assemble it, and then we'll go to the car. Here we have the front on our work table. We're actually going to go ahead and assemble it using our parts and our 3 plates here. So to begin, we're going to flip our flap over so that the logo is facing down. We're going to take our number 10 flange nuts and we're going to press them in from this side so that the flange is remaining on the top side. So we'll go ahead, push those in. If it's a little too hard for your thumb, just take a mallet. You can add a little extra pressure, makes them go in a little bit easier. So we'll just do that. And repeat that for all 6 holes. Now that we've got all of our flange nuts pressed in, we can go ahead, flip that flap back over. Now we're going to go ahead, take our medium strength thread locker, and put just a small drop on all 6 of the nuts. This is just going to aid in some vibration resistance to help keep the assembly all together. Now we're going to take our A plate, align it with our holes and our nuts, take our B plate, also align that, and now we're going to take our shorter screws and put them in these 4 exterior holes right here. Now that we've got those 4 short screws installed into these locations, we can go ahead, take our C plate, place it over, aligning the last 2 screws here and the 2 mount holes here. Now we're going to take our longer screws and feed those down in. Now we can go ahead, lift it to the side, and we're going to go ahead and compress these till the nut just barely sinks into the material. If you tap them in, they might already be set deep, but just get them nice and snug, no need to over tighten. Now with all our screws tightened, we're going to go ahead, take our clips, slide them into position so that the extruded portion is on the same side as the logo, not inside of the flap. So go ahead, get those into position until they click, just like so. Now we're good to take our flap assembly, head over to the vehicle, and begin mounting our bracket and then our flap. Here we are at the front wheel well. We're going to be working just directly inside the wheel well, up at the front body mount right here. We're going to be removing the 2 nuts that hold the body mount. We'll be reusing the nuts there and mounting our brackets to this location. So let's go ahead, drop down. We'll show you removing the nuts, installing the bracket, and then we'll pop back up for final installation of the flap. Here we are underneath the vehicle. We are going to go ahead, remove the 2 nuts located right here on the factory body mount. I'm going to go ahead and just remove them. We already cracked them loose to make it a little easier. They are a 16 millimeter or 5/8 socket. Now we're going to grab our bracket and we're going to take it and we're going to have it so that the mount flange is facing the front of the vehicle. We're going to take it and we're going to tilt it so that the back of the bracket goes up first and then swoop around this large washer here. And now we're going to go ahead, support that in place, and start our start our nuts back on it. Go ahead, get that in place. Get our second one started. Now we're going to take our ratchet with extension and we're going to tighten this back down to factory torque specs. With those fully tightened, now we can go back up and begin installing the flap. Now we're back up, we've got our flap ready, we've got our bracket ready. Now comes the install. How to do it is you'll take your bracket, you'll slide it in this groove right here on the flap. Lift it up into position, align the holes, take your thumb screws, and secure your flap into place. Just like with our other Jeep kits, we decided to make this one a quick detach as well. Repeat these same steps on the other side. Now let's go ahead and jump to the rear. Here we have your rear laid out. What you'll get in your kit is your flap for that corner. You'll get your A plate, your B plate, and your C plate. You'll get your mounting bracket, and then the hardware. We'll go ahead and put a breakdown of that hardware on the screen right now. Let's go over to the workbench and assemble it. Now let's go ahead and begin assembling the rear flap. To do so, we're going to take our A plate and our B plate, and we're going to face them so the etching is face up. On the A plate, we're going to go ahead and take our M6 nut and put it into that central hole right there. Press that in. Now we're going to take our number 10 flange nuts and place them into plate B. Now that we've got all our flange nuts pressed in, we're going to take our B plate and we're going to flip it so that the flanges are face down now. We're going to take our medium strength thread locker and we're going to put just a drop on each of these nuts. Now with our thread locker in place, we can go ahead, lift the flap up, slide our B plate to the bottom. Now we can go ahead and take our A plate and set that over top. Now we're going to take our shorter screws and we're going to put them in all four corners. Then we're going to continue on putting our smaller screws in this hole, this hole, this hole, and this hole. And now we're going to take our C plate, place it over top of the M6 nut, aligning both holes, and we're going to secure that with the longer screws. Now, just like on the front, we're going to take our 1/8 inch Allen key and we're going to go ahead and snug all of these down. You can lift that up, tighten these till the nut just barely sinks into the material, and that should be good. Let's just go ahead and finish tightening all of these. Now that we have our rear flap assembled, we can go ahead take our bracket and our flap, head over to the vehicle, and begin installing. Here we are at the rear of the vehicle. We're going to go ahead and remove the two OEM bolts right here and right here, located on the frame rail. We're going to reuse these bolts to mount our bracket. So to begin, we're going to go ahead and take our 16mm socket and undo both of these. We've got them loosened up. We'll take these, pull that out. Now we're going to go ahead, grab our bracket. The bracket is going to mount so that the angle comes away, following the line of the body. We'll go ahead and we're going to pair that up with our body right here. And so we'll set our depth based on what part of those holes. This is also handy if you've got a shorter bumper or a deleted bumper and you want the bracket to hold your flap further away. You can actually go ahead and flip your bracket. It will retain that same angle, and you can push your flap even further away from your tire. But on this one, we've just got a stock Jeep today. We're going to go ahead, place it in the forward direction. We're going to tuck it underneath the bumper support bracket, and we're going to go ahead, align the slots and the mount holes. The bumper bracket is actually going to help us support the bracket right now while we grab our screws. We're going to take our OEM screws, putting those back into the holes that they came from. And we're just going to go ahead and get those started by hand. Now, because these are slotted, there will be a lot of play up and down. You can get it to match the angle of your bumper. So we're going to go ahead, get that set into position. We'll lightly snug these up, but not fully tighten them down yet, just so that way we can go ahead and get the flap on and get it set into its final position. So with those pretty much snug by hand, let's go ahead. We'll grab our flap. We're going to take it, and there is a slot in the center of the flap that the bracket is going to go into. So we'll go ahead, line that up, wiggle that into place, just like so. If it's too tight, you can back off your screws just ever so slightly. But a little up and down wiggle will get it to go. Now, once we're aligned with the slot, we can take our 1/2-inch thumb screw, get that put into position. We can take our flap now with that bracket still being able to move. Get it adjusted up against our bumper here. And once that is adjusted, we're going to go ahead, take our tool, our ratchet with our 5/8 or 16mm socket, and we're going to go ahead and tighten these back down. Now that that's tight, that's how you complete the install. You can repeat these same steps on the other side. Thanks for watching.